This video is based on the technical analysis of Lite Coin, which is also known as LTC USD. And as you guys can see, we're on the daily chart. And in regards to the daily chart, we can see that we are in an upward trending market or an upward trajectory. Another thing that is also very much interesting about this particular chart is that we also have two very important patterns. Number one, we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern, which has a neckline more or less at that point. And number two, we have a smaller inverted head and shoulders pattern again at this level as well. However, this pattern over here has played itself out, and that is because it started at this point and then we saw price come down, give us the structure, and it ended more or less in line with where it started. I hope you guys can see that, right? So what this means is that this smaller inverted head and shoulders pattern is no longer relevant. However, I also want to speak about how the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern is now a very strong level of support at this point in time, as we may potentially see price come back to that neckline to give it a test. And at that point is where we may see price actually move further up to around this level to actually complete this inverted head and shoulders pattern that we spoke about, right? And that is because, as I say, usually this pattern started at this point and came down, gave us the pattern, and ideally we would love to see the market end at that level in line with where it started, more or less, right? Another thing that's also very much important is that this is a very strong level of resistance at this point in time, and at this point we may get a reversal of sorts. And that is because, as I said, guys, it's a very strong level of resistance, as we've had multiple rejections at that level, and in the future we may get another rejection at that level, only for the market to move further down, right? What else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? At this point I don't see much, but as I said, price at this point in time is actually at the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern, and should price, in my very humble opinion, actually close above that neckline, ideally we want to see the market come back to the neckline to give it a test. And where we have that neckline is where we should be looking for those potential buying opportunities, and our first take profit should be this level. And that is because that level is exactly where this inverted head and shoulders pattern started, and it's also a very strong level of resistance at this point in time, right? So what I'm going to do right now, guys, is just to utilize the Fibonacci retracement tool just to see if, should price from where it is head down to this level, right? I want to see if that neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern actually aligns with any key numbers that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool. So just bear with me while I do so. Right, and there we go, more or less, right? And we can see that the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern aligns more or less with the 23.6% Fibonacci retracement level. So what this means, in my very humble opinion, is that should the market from where it is, let me just actually zoom in, from the market from where it is come back to this level over here, right? At this level is where we should look for those potential buying opportunities, and I believe that our take profit should be around this level over here, which is also a very strong level of resistance at this point in time. Another thing that I also want to speak about is that, as much as I'm saying that should price from where it is come back to this level to give it a shot or to give it a test, and that we should be looking for those potential buying opportunities, just also bear in mind that this level over here is also a very strong level of resistance at this point in time, over and above the fact that it's actually the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern. And what may actually happen is that we may see price come back to this level, only to move again to that level to test it, and at that level we may potentially see the market move further down, and the market may actually give us a triple top, right? If you look here, we may potentially get a triple top, and the market may move further down to around this level. I hope you guys can see that. And actually, if you pay attention to this area, we can also see that we have the candlestick, and what it is a bearish candlestick which has a small body and quite a long lower wick. And what it tells us is that at the bottom where that wick ends over here, there's a lot of liquidity stuck there, and liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So there is scope for the market to move further down to grab some of that liquidity. However, having said that, at this point in time, myself personally, I would love to see the market come back to around this level to give it a test. And at this point, I would look for buying opportunities, and our first take profit, or my first take profit, would be around this level over here. Having said that, just bear in mind that we may potentially actually see price come back to the neckline here, only to move further up to this neckline of the bigger inverted head and shoulders pattern. And at this point, we may actually see the market move further down, as I said, to complete this triple top, right? So what I'm doing at this point is just speculating, and just showing you some of the possible outcomes that we may encounter as far as LTC USD or Lite Coin is concerned.